want peace, nations should avoid the pinpricks that precede cannon shot. Napoleon Bonaparte. Howdy, and welcome to the Texian Historian. Today we are beginning part 1 of our two-part series on the most feared and versatile weapon on 19th century battlefield. No, not that one. No, the other one. There it is, the cannon. In this part of the series, we're going to focus on the roles artillery has on a battlefield, as well as the different types of munitions one can use. But first, what even is a cannon?
It was finished in the afternoon, and a brisk fire was kept up front until the 18th pounder, and another piece was dismounted. Colonel Juan Almonte.
Cannon, at their simplest forms, are just a large bronze or iron tube, which fires a charge of gunpowder and a projectile. There are many different types of cannon: howitzers, mortars, naval guns, swivel guns, but the one we are focusing on today is the Napoleonic field gun. Unlike the specialized howitzers and mortars, the field gun is more versatile, being equipped to use, on average, 4 types of munitions we will discuss later on. And unlike a naval gun, field guns are generally smaller than 32 pounds, and with their large wheels and carriages, are mobile enough to move 18 to 25 miles a day. Well, with the aid of horses, that is. Doubt I could pull one that far. As previously mentioned, field guns serve many functions on a battlefield. Once a battery, and a placement of 6 to 8 artillery pieces, is positioned, it can serve various functions, such as clearing away infantry or demolishing fortifications. By far, though, its most pivotal role is that of psychological warfare. Remember, in the early 19th century, battles were won by quickly taking a field, not by killing as many of the enemy as possible. The sounds of artillery, the swarm of bee-like sounds of canister shot, the explosions of bombs bursting in air could scare the enemy into fleeing, granting your army a less costly victory. Artillery pieces get their names from the weight of the round shot that they fire. A 2-pound ball will fit in a 2-pound cannon, a 6-pound ball in a 6-pound cannon, and so on and so forth. The diameter of a ball will also give the size of the other types of shot. As an example, a 6-pound ball is 3.5 inches wide, so a canister round, even though it might weigh 10 to 12 pounds, if it's 3.5 inches wide, it will be classified as a 6-pound canister shot. In the United States System of Exercise and Instruction for Field Artillery, directed by Winfield Scott, the 2 standard sizes for the United States Army were 6 and 12-pound artillery pieces. Now, that's not to say that other sizes are rarely seen. Despite primarily manufacturing 6 and 12-pound field guns, the United States also fielded older, captured, or repaired guns ranging from 2 pounds and higher. And at the Battle of the Alamo in 1836, the Texan rebels managed to acquire 18 guns, ranging from 2 to 18 pounds. And they had 3 naval swivel guns, Esmeraldas, added, for good measure. Remember, if there's anything about Texans, they always have more than enough guns for the situation. And now it's time to alienate my audience by bringing in math. A cannon needs 1/3 the weight of the shot in black powder for it to fire, so for an 18-pound field gun, you need 6 pounds of powder per shot. At the Battle of Gonzales, the Texan rebels famously fired a 6-pound gun and a 1/4 pound Esmeralda. Using the 1/3 rule, that means they used 2 pounds and 1/12 of a pound of powder to fire both cannon. Cannon are double-edged blades, however. If you are to retreat, you need to destroy the cannon through several ways. One of which is simply hammering a nail into the vent hole in a process known as spiking, as this will prevent the enemy from being able to fire the gun if you retreat. One can also use a technique known as dry ball, where the cannon is loaded with no powder and wadded in to prevent the ball from easily being removed. And if you add a nail, just like earlier, it becomes almost impossible to fix this without returning the gun to an arsenal to be recast. Finally, artillery officers generally carried a short sword with them, which they could use to damage the wheels of the carriage to prevent their movement. All of these methods prevent the enemy from using your artillery against you, a lesson the Texans, during the Battle of the Alamo, learned all too well. On the night of the 25th, they made another attempt to charge us in the rear of the fort, but we received them gallantly by a discharge of grape shot and musketry. William Barrett Travis, 1836. Around 80% of the time, a field gun will be firing what is known as round shot, a solid ball of iron or bronze. Contrary to popular belief, this does not explode on impact. In fact, the way one fires round shot is with no angle, so that the ball skips across the battlefield like a stone. While The Patriot is generally a problematic historical film, it does manage to showcase this well. As you can see in that clip, the ball skips across the battlefield over the regulars, taking out several columns of Americans with one shot. This type of shot in higher weights is also excellent at dislodging fortifications, although attempting to tear down walls with cannons smaller than 12 pounds can be a bit difficult. Round shot is also useful as an anti-artillery round. By keeping the ball in a fire the whole time, an artillery crew can now have a ball that is glowing red hot. Loading this hot shot with a good amount of wadding to prevent premature firing, you can set fire to anything the ball touches, the goal of which is to hit the enemy's powder-filled caissons, causing them to explode. Another similar munition is the spherical case shot, known commonly as a bomb. Unlike the round shot, this one actually does explode. A hollow ball filled with gunpowder, the ignition of the cannon lights the fuse on this piece. You fire it at an angle, and the gunner of the crew cut the fuse to the right length so that the shot explodes about 20 feet over the heads of the enemy, raining fragments of the shell down on them. This was a terrifying weapon to go against, to say the least, and was commonly lobbed over walls during sieges, such as when the Mexican army fired this into the Alamo in 1836, or the British into Fort McHenry in 1814. During the 19th century, a variant of case shot started becoming popular. Invented by Henry Shrapnel of His Royal Majesty's Artillery Corps in 1784, the shrapnel bomb was an exploding case shot filled with lead musket balls alongside the powder charge. Upon exploding, you would get the shell fragments and a bunch of musket balls raining down on you. That is what we military historians consider a bad time. While the setting is almost 100 years before they were invented, the miniseries Black Sails actually shows really well what shrapnel's bombs do. As a quick side note, never tell an English artillerist you were hit with shrapnel unless you can prove there was metal mixed with the explosive. They don't like that very much. Both the aforementioned spherical case and shrapnel bombs have a major drawback, and that is their unreliability. The fuse could be cut too long, too short, not catch, get snuffed out by the wind, or simply just not work, leading to a wasted shot. Next on our deadly menu, we have grape shot, a series of smaller iron or bronze balls covered by fabric. While earlier versions were wrapped around a wooden dowel, grape shot during the 19th century was sandwiched between metal plates, which when fired turn into deadly mini frisbees. Fun. During the mid to late 19th century, grape shot found itself largely replaced with canister, but you still see it in several Civil War battles. And here's a fun fact about grape shot. In 1838, a round of French grape shot blew the leg off of Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. You know, the guy that made half of Mexico want to leave in the 30s and killed everyone at the Alamo? Well, in 1847, during the Mexican-American War, his prosthetic was actually captured by the 4th Illinois Infantry, who, while bored waiting for orders, took the leg and played stickball with it. Afterwards, they took the leg back to Springfield with them, further cementing the fact that Illinois and the Cubs are the best baseball team ever. Wait, I'm getting off track? Oh, right. So, where was I? Oh, right. With grape shot not being effective enough at killing and breaking often in storage, it was bound to be replaced eventually. Enter canister shot. By the early 19th century Napoleonic Wars, canister was becoming more popular, as the tin tube was filled with hundreds of musket balls and sawdust. That's a lot more projectiles right there. If the tube was well made, the round would fly out and hit the ground in front of the enemy, all of the musket balls flying out of the ruptured tube in what's known as the cone of death. If the canister was poorly made, or has a round shot behind it in a process known as double shot, the tube would rupture in the cannon's barrel, all of the rounds flying out like a monster-sized shotgun. And now a word from our sponsor. Have a Mexican company charging at your northwest wall? Have a Confederate division charging at your artillery emplacement? Well, look no further than double canister shot. By cleverly using double the projectiles, your enemy will be gone faster than you can say Swiss cheese.
That's a lot of damage!
Order now for 3 payments of $19.99. While shipping and handling, you must be 18 or older to order, not valid in the state of California. And we're back. Well, there are still several different types of shot that could be used, like chain shot, bar shot. The previous 4 types of shot are the main ones used in field guns. Most other types of shot are used in naval combat, where damaging rigging and masts can be more important than, death. And if all else fails and you run out of artillery rounds, just use garbage. Langrage is a concept where you either tie together or bag up nails, utensils, lead shot, and any other metal projectiles as a last resort.
Load the guns! Case shot and langrage! Nails and crushed glass!
Granted, this does seriously damage the barrel of your gun, but if you're resorting to last resort ammo, do you really care about the longevity of your weapon? And that's the gist of cannon usage and munitions from the early 19th century. Part 2 of this video should be out in about 2 weeks, so be sure to like and subscribe to see when it comes out. Until next time, I'm the Texian Historian.